We'll finish this lesson by preparing for what we want to do next class when we factor trinomials of the form ax squared plus bx plus c. In order to factor a trinomial, we will need to solve what is called an x puzzle. We're going to practice some of these so that we can get comfortable with this skill before next class. Let me explain what an X puzzle is. We're going to start with level 1 on this first row, and so the first problem that we'll look at is x squared plus 6x plus 5. What we're going to do for our X puzzle is we're going to draw a fairly good-sized X. In the top, we are going to put a times c, and in the bottom, we are going to put b. Now, what exactly are those variables or numbers? Well, look back here at the form of the trinomial. A is the coefficient in front of x squared, which in this particular trinomial, there is an invisible 1 in front of that x squared. The b is the number in front of x, or the coefficient of x, which in this case is 6, and c is the constant term that does not have an x on it, which in this particular case is a 5. And so we could say here that a is 1, b is 6, and c is 5, and you can write it down that way if it helps you. I like to draw lines from my a to my c to indicate that I'm going to multiply those to get my a times c number, which is 5. Then we are going to put b in the bottom of this puzzle, which is 6. From there, we are looking for two numbers that when they are multiplied to positive 5, which is my a times c, they add to positive 6. And so what we're going to do is we're going to list the factors of 5. And so here are the factors of 5. Well, there's only two of them. That would be 1 and 5. And notice that 1 and 5 add up when you add them together to our 6, which is exactly what we needed in order to complete this puzzle. And so the two numbers that are going to complete this puzzle are going to go on the sides here. It's going to be 1 and 5. Okay, so now that we maybe have a little bit of the hang of it, let's try another one. So here again, we're going to look at our a times c. 1 is going to be my a, since it's an invisible coefficient in front of the x squared, and 1 times 24 is going to give me 24. The number that goes in the bottom of my x is b, and in this case, b is 14. And so now what we are looking for are two numbers that will multiply to 24 and add to 14. And so we are going to list out the factors of 24 and see if there is a combination that will add to positive 14. And so my factors of 24 are 1 and 24, 2 and 12, 3 and 8, 6 and 4. And so take a look at those four combinations and see if you can find one that will add up to positive 14. Yeah, that's right. Hopefully you picked this second one, 2 and 12. And so those are going to be the two numbers that will complete my X puzzle. For this third problem in level 1, we're going to do the exact same thing. The only thing that's different here is that we do have a lead coefficient there in the front of our x squared. And so here where we do a times c, we're going to have 3 times 5, which is going to give us 15. And then our add number will go in the bottom. That's our value of b, which is that number in front of x. And so now we want to find two numbers that will multiply to 15 and add to positive 8. And so here we're going to list the factors of 15 as 1 and 15, 3 and 5. And in this particular case, we're looking for the ones that add up to positive 8. And we see clearly that that would be the 3 and the 5, and that will complete our X puzzle. For the last one, we're going to do the exact same thing. So we're going to take our A times our C, which in this case will be 6 times 1. That's going to be the number that goes in the top of our X puzzle as our multiply number. In the bottom of our X puzzle, we're going to take that number in front of X, which in this case is 5. And so we want to list out the factors of 6 and see which combination will add up to positive 5. We won't always be able to find one, but most of the time we will. And so here are the two combinations of numbers that add up to, multiply to 6, and we need to see which ones add to 5. And hopefully you notice that it's this second pair of numbers that when you add them together, you get a positive 5, and also they multiply to a positive 6.